Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, today I'm going to continue my discussion about The Birth of a Nation by Nate Parker. The film apparently didn't do well in the box office. It only made $7 million. And now people are trying to blame black women for the failure of this film. Because, as you know, black feminists organized a boycott against this film. They boycotted it because of the rape allegations against Nate Parker. Years ago, Nate Parker was charged with rape. He was tried and he was found to be not guilty. And recently, Nate Parker has been asked about these allegations. And in response to those questions, he was self centered. He was making statements that were self serving, statements that were not sympathetic, statements that were not remorseful. So people were taken aback by that. They were troubled by that. They were disappointed by that. And after his initial response to questions about this, he had a more polished and professional response that appeared to be more sympathetic, that appeared to be more remorseful. But then he did other interviews where he went back to his original type of response. And I don't think that it helped the film. I think that all this negative publicity around the rape allegations, that hurt the film without even considering the boycott. The fact that this man had this history behind him, that hurt the film, not this boycott. Because instead of talking about the film, instead of focusing on the film, all the focus was put on these rape allegations. That hurt the film. Instead of talking about this important hero in black history, we spent all this time talking about these rape allegations. And as I saw this unfold, all I could think to myself is that I wish somebody else directed this film. I wish Spike Lee directed the film, John Singleton, somebody else with skills. I wish that they directed the film so that we wouldn't even be talking about some rape allegations. We would be talking about the film and focused on the film. So I don't think that that boycott alone caused this film not to do well, because just all the negative publicity in and of itself probably hurt the film. And the fact that the film is a film about slavery probably hurt it as well. Because a lot of times when people go to the movies, they want to go to the movies for entertainment. They want to feel good when they go to the movies. They want an experience. They want to be able to escape reality for those couple of hours when they're watching a movie. So a lot of people didn't want to see that film. A lot of people don't like slave movies. They see them as depressing, they see them as humiliating and as painful. So a lot of people don't turn out for these films. And unfortunately, that's a shame. You know, we should celebrate our history just like other people celebrate their history. The good, the bad, and the ugly, they remember their history. There have been many films about World War II. There have been films about the Holocaust. People make sure that others don't forget their history. And I think that we need to have the same type of attitude towards our films. And so if a film like this doesn't do well, we have to blame ourselves as a collective for not supporting the film, for not getting behind the film. So I don't think that all the blame can go towards a small group of women who staged a boycott. I think it's much larger than that. I think the issue is much larger than that. And it's sad, you know, because this is a film of quality. This is a film of importance. It's a film about our experience as a people. It is a shame that we would rather see some buffoonish minstrel show than to watch a quality film like this. I'm sure that when that Medea film comes out, if it's already come out, it's going to do much better than this important film, Birth of a Nation. And while I understand the importance of the boycott, for me, I make a separation. I make a distinction between Nate Parker, the individual, and the film. I think the film is so important that it goes beyond the individual. It transcends that individual. It's all right to not like Nate Parker, but to not support his film, that's a different thing as far as I'm concerned. You have plenty of white actors and white directors who have done all kinds of things that are foul, but nobody is organizing any kind of systemic or structured boycott against any of their films. I don't hear anybody talking about boycotting Woody Allen. I don't hear anybody talking about boycotting Johnny Depp, despite all the things that they have allegedly done. Nobody's talking about that. And then you have other people in Hollywood who have done other things, but nobody is organizing boycotts against those films. You don't hear any of these black women feminists talking about how they're not going to support a Johnny Depp film because he brutalized his wife allegedly. But now people are up in arms trying to boycott this brother's film. I understand the importance of the issue, and I think that people should advocate for black women and for women in general. But I don't think that there's a need to boycott this film. But at the same time, I don't blame those women. I don't say that they're solely responsible for the outcome here. Now, after the film was released, you had some black feminists attack the film, promoting these gender politics, furthering this divide between black men and women. You had the women, one of these feminists say this. She said, the rape storyline is carefully constructed to redeem black masculinity at the expense of black women. That's the kind of mentality that these feminists have. They see it as if there's some kind of competition here between black men and black women. They talked about how black women were rendered voiceless in Birth of a Nation, how they Gabriel Union's character in particular, how she didn't even say a word in the movie. And frankly, I was expecting Gabrielle Union to have a bigger role in the film, but her role, though it was significant in the story, in the plot, it was not a big role. It was a very small role in the movie. So they criticized the film for that reason. And they talked about this. This is another quote from one of these articles that I read. It said that there should be a better understanding of the sexual economy of slavery, one that pushes us beyond simple patriarchal notions of black men's inability to protect black women. And they went on to criticize the film, saying that it mutes black women's ability to act, rendering their rebellion virtually non existent in a film about revolt and freedom. So basically, they're saying that in this film, it was all about the man. It was all about redeeming the black man's manhood, his ability to protect his women. And this is a feminist writing this article, so of course she has a problem with patriarchy. She attacks patriarchy, and she talks about how black women's voices are muted. And that's a valid point in terms of the black women's voices being muted in this film, because black women in this film don't have much dialogue. They are more like a prop to motivate these black men to rebel against the slave master. And I get that. I understand that point. And in fact, The white woman in this film, the white slave mistress, has a bigger and more significant role in this movie than the black women do. And I find that to be troubling. And somebody else pointed this out, another YouTuber that I respect pointed this issue out about the role of this white woman slave master in this film. She's the one that teaches Nat Turner how to read. She's the one that encourages him to preach. She's the one that's kind to him in this movie. She's the quote unquote good slave master in this film. So that is problematic. The fact that she had a bigger role in terms of the dialogue, in terms of being the one that teach this boy how to read and who inspired him to be a preacher and all that kind of stuff. So that's one aspect of the film. And I get the criticism, but I don't get this criticism of patriarchy. I really think that for some of these people that have such a problem with black patriarchy, I think that their problem is not with patriarchy in general. I think that their problem is with black men being in a patriarchal position. Their problem is seeing the black man as a hero. I think that that's the problem. I think that some of our people have been so thoroughly brainwashed, so thoroughly programmed that they cannot imagine a black man as a hero. They simply can't because their idea of a hero is a white knight in shining armor. Their idea of a hero is the prince, a white prince coming to save the damsel in distress. They don't have a problem with the white man saving a damsel in distress, but they have a problem with a black man doing it. Instead of recognizing the proper role of a man as a protector and a provider, they want to be their own protectors and providers. They want to be in competition with the black man instead of one with the black man, instead of supporting the black man. So I think that that's problematic, and it feeds into this whole problem of division between black men and women. It feeds into this whole situation of divide and conquer that we see. We need to unite. And I think that they do have legitimate issues. And I think that the film could have addressed those issues by incorporating women in the process, not just in terms of the acting, but also in terms of um, the writing, the scripting, and all that kind of stuff. So that someone could say, well, hey, maybe the sister should have a more significant role. So I don't downplay the significance of some of the things that they're saying. I think that there could have been a louder voice for black women. There could have been some women participating in that rebellion. And I read an article about some of the inaccuracies in the film, and one of them dealt with the role of women in the film. I mean, women in the rebellion. According to the article that I read in The Nation, um, Nat Turner's mother participated in the rebellion. I will include links to all my sources for this video in the description box, so I hope you all can check them out and read them for yourself. So I do think that there is a role for um, women. I think that they should have had a more significant role in the film. But at the same time, I reject this attack on black patriarchy. I mean, I ask myself, what is wrong with a black man providing for his family and his community? What is wrong with a black man protecting his community? I think for so long we have seen a diminished black man, a broken black man, a destroyed black man, a community with the absence of a strong black presence. And because of that, we can't accept the idea of a black patriarchy. We just can't do it. I think for a lot of people, they just can't accept it. And that's a shame. I just wonder about this whole situation. I mean, I never hear these people attack white films that have a male hero in it, protecting women and providing for women. But when a black man does that, it's a problem. I mean, this is one of the rare films where you have a black hero fighting to protect his community, fighting for freedom and sacrificing his very life. And people are attacking that. This is a film by a black director for black people. And we have a problem with it. We don't have a problem with white people directing these slave films. When these white people direct these films, they get all these accolades and all this support. When you have a man like Quentin Tarantino do a buffoonish and cartoonish depiction of slavery, he's celebrated as some kind of genius. You got all these black people going out to see that film, but they won't support their own brother. And I think that that's a shame. I really do. We have to support our own. Like, as long as we don't support our own, we can't expect anybody else to support us. We can't. And I understand that a lot of people, well, some people, I don't know if it's a lot of people, some people simply didn't watch the film because the brother is married to a white woman. And I get that. I mean, I understand that because it is a turnoff. I mean, the fact that you got this guy pretending to be some kind of black hero and he's with a white woman. And that goes back to this whole issue of how the white woman was depicted in the film. Maybe that has something to do with it. So I understand that issue. Because like all too often you have these black male actors, black male celebrities, black wealthy men who choose to be with white women. And I can understand why black women would be disappointed. But again, for me, I separate the individual from the film. And I support the film. It's an important film. It deserves our support. If we can pour all this money into, white films like Star Wars or other films or even stupid stuff like a Kevin Hart movie, if we can support that kind of garbage, why can't we support something of quality, something of substance, something of importance? So those are my thoughts about this issue. Tell me what you think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.